Hi there, this is Shara Zwalji from Astral Connections again, and here with me I have Allan Knight. Allan Knight is an author and a speaker. He was here tonight. He did a talk for us, and we really enjoyed it. And I just wanted to share who Allan Knight is with everyone today. Hello, Allan.
How are you?
Good. Great to have you today. It was a great presentation you did, by the way.
Thank you so much. What she didn't tell you is that before the presentation, she stumbled through her speech. And now she speaks perfectly well. So that's the power of my training. Just
Absolutely. We'll learn lots tonight. But before we talk about tonight, let's talk a little bit about Allan. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Allan. Tell me about yourself personally first, your life, your childhood.
Well, in a nutshell, I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. And when I was 13 years old, my mother was told she had cancer and had 6 months to live. And she lived for about 20 years. So my mother was my first role model related to the power of the human spirit.
For me, it was my grandma.
Your grandma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we both share that.
We do.
Very powerful. And then when I was 19, my father died. And I, at that time, was taking a bachelor in psychology, and I decided to take off. I traveled the world for 1 year. And halfway around the world, I was on the Mediterranean, and I came that close to dying on the desert, which changed my life.
What happened?
Heat stroke.
Tell us about it.
What happened was, I didn't realize it was going to be about 120 degrees that day, and I walked about 10 kilometers halfway through a village, halfway on the desert, and I was in the water all day, and I had no hat on, and like an idiot, I had a tomato and a piece of bread. That's it. I spent all day in and out of the water, start walking back on the desert. My heart started palpitating. I got freaked out.
I can imagine.
I saw one tree. I fell under the tree. A little transistor. It's like I can remember how that transistor looked, little green transistor. And I thought, that's it. Life is over. Next thing I know, I was on some Yemenite's balcony. And to this day, because they didn't speak English, I don't know how they saved me because nobody around. And they told me that a lot of soldiers died from heat stroke, and I had a heat stroke.
Wow.
And that night I returned to the place that I was living in, and a woman who was very spiritual and psychic said, "You are going to meet a teacher and your life is going to change within the next year." And that's really what happened. I came back to Montreal, and I then embraced, I lived like a Buddhist monk for 9 years of my life.
Wow, 9 years.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it. So how did you get from you'll meet a teacher to Buddhist monk for 9 years?
Well, when I got home, what happened was that I was one of these sensitive guys, and I was kind of, at that time I was I was in my early 20s, and I was kind of a little lost. I had a lot of sensitivity, I was very aware, I had a lot of good skills and capabilities, but I really didn't know myself that well. And I met a woman in a bookstore, and she had these big, beautiful blue eyes, and we started chatting, and I said, "Well, you have this incredible spirit about you. You seem so calm and clear and content. How do you do this?" And she said, "Well, I actually live in a community." And it was a Zen meditation center at the time. And I visited it a week later, and I moved in and lived there for 9 years.
Wow. It's amazing to make that decision. Like,
Yeah.
so you met this woman, she introduced you to the Zen meditation, you went over there,
Yeah.
and then it's not like you signed up for 9 years, so how did that happen?
I'm the kind of person, I follow my heart, and when I met these people, you know, some people might have called it a cult, whatever you want to call it. It may be a cult, not a cult, but for me, it saved my life, because I sensed that there was a clarity in the people's, you know, their eyes were clear, their voices were clear. It just was like home to me, and so I just made an intuitive decision that I need to be here, and within weeks I had moved in.
So after 9 years, so you made an intuitive decision to move in, to be there,
Right.
to experience for 9 whole years.
Correct.
So then what makes you walk away from that?
The most gorgeous, sexy woman I've ever seen. We went to church, we were singing in a choir, and I saw this gorgeous woman, and I said, "I think it's time to leave.
Sing in a choir.
I think it's time to leave the monastery. I'm ready to get back into the world and then integrate what I learned from the inside into the external world of North America."
Yeah, because you came back with that.
Yeah.
You came back with all that 9 years of
Yeah.
spiritual growth. Can I
Right.
call it that?
Yeah.
Do you feel you grew in those 9 years?
I grew, I found myself inside at a deep level. I found clarity, I found soul, I found spirit, I found centeredness, I found calmness. But what I learned was that unless you integrate it into day-to-day North American lifestyle, then you might as well go to the Himalayan mountains, and I wasn't living in the Himalayan mountains.
So it can be integrated into daily life then?
That's what my whole training program is. That's what my book is all about. Learning how to activate your inner power and live in freedom while you're living in your relationships and your work and your day-to-day responsibility and normal living.
Why is that so important?
Why is what so important?
Integrating the inner you in the outer you.
Would you rather be stressed out?
No, of course not.
Do you know any people who have a lot of anxiety and stress?
Oh, yeah.
With their material responsibilities and money and relationships and codependent relationships and children responsibilities and running around like a chicken and not making enough money. Is there plenty of anxiety in the world?
Yeah.
How would you like to be calm and clear and centered while you take care of all these relationships and financial responsibilities and career?
So you're saying everyone should go on a 9-year assignment?
No, they don't have to. I did that. But what I learned is I developed a system that helps you to go into that without having to become a monk.
So before you tell us about your system, tell us about your book.
My book is called What's Holding You Back? It's 9 steps to activate your inner power and lead an extraordinary life. And the book, it's really in ebook form on Amazon now, but within a couple of months I'll have the soft cover available. The book is really more about, it's a little bit about my history, my background that I'm sharing with you now, and then it goes over the 9 steps. That's my practical system that I've developed. So it's a very practical how-to book.
9 steps. Can you give us an idea of what those 9 steps entail? What
do you want me to give you away my whole book?
Without giving away your book.
In a nutshell, the first 7 steps have to do with the relationship you have with yourself, and step 8 has to do with mastering the art of communication. All aspects of your communication, whether it's sales, leadership, management, and business, or in your personal relationships, friendships, attracting more quality relationships, ultimately finding your soulmate, if that's what you want. But the first 7 have to do with the relationship you have with yourself.
Wow. Takes that much more of you to be with someone else then, is what you're trying to tell me.
Well, it all starts with you. It always does. The thesis that I wrote when I got my master's degree in education at McGill University many moons ago was relationships with other people start with the relationship you have with yourself. So most of us out there, the self-help industry is multi-million-dollar industry. Rah-rah motivational seminars are multi-million-dollar industry. So many of us know that, the law of attraction, the secret, etc. We know that. Here's the problem. Most of us are depending on reading books and attending rah-rah workshops. But I don't know about you, but most of the people that come into my office after reading all these books and attending all these seminars still suffer from procrastination, hyperactive mind, too much stress and anxiety, too many codependent relationships, not experiencing deep levels of wisdom and contentment and inner peace and inner freedom because we haven't focused enough on getting into the gymnasium. We focus too much. If you want to get into top physical shape, do you read a lot of books? Do you attend a lot of workshops? Or do you get into the gymnasium and work out 2, 3, 4 times a week? So why, when it comes to mental inner fitness, are we focusing so much on the books and the seminars? I'm not putting them down. I've attended many of them, benefited by all of them, but that's good for awareness. But unless you take the awareness into emotional commitment, consistent action. Huh?
Knowledge and action. Knowledge,
emotion, action, and ultimately mastering your communication. All 4 cylinders need to be working. So what I've done, over the years, I've been in the laboratory, putting all the pieces together, the mind, the emotion, the action, the intuition, to your communication. And through these steps, if you go through them, step by step by step, you get to a high level of what I call self-mastery, and then ultimately verbal mastery, so that you become your own coach. You won't need to be so dependent on books, tens, rah-rah seminars, including Allan Knight. I want you to become not dependent on Allan Knight.
No rah-rah seminars from Allan Knight.
Practical stuff. There'll be a little fun and rah-rah, but it's mostly practical and results-oriented. And some reality. I'm interested in reality. I'm not interested in just blind motivation or positive affirmations that don't work. I want to know reality. How are you doing after all the seminars?
So you're going to follow up and make us accountable for our actions?
Part of it.
Oh, jeez.
Part of it. That's why they call me the tormentor, not the mentor. There's 3 keys here. M-A-C. M-A-C. M for motivation and mastery, self-mastery. Everything starts with you coming from a high level of inner peace, tranquility, mastery, motivation, enthusiasm. A is for action and accountability. And C is for communication. Mastering the art of all the communication skills that you need to have.
So this is the real Mac.
This is the real, oh yeah, this is the inner Mac. Maybe I should call it that, the inner Mac program. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's $1 million idea right there. The inner Mac program. Do you believe, you've heard of this expression, knowledge is power? Do you believe knowledge is power?
Yes, to some extent.
I know because you heard my seminar tonight. I think knowledge is power in some domains. If we want to become a medical doctor, we need to study with our analytical mind. But we honor the rational mind to such a great extent. When it comes to mastering yourself, or mastering your simple verbal communication skills, it's the opposite. It's not knowledge. Get out of knowledge into simplicity, into your heart, into presence of mind. We're way too complicated.
You're absolutely right.
I thought you would agree with me. Do you want to sign up for the program?
I'd love to.
Where's the Visa? Where's the MasterCard?
So then, Allan gave a presentation here tonight, and we're hoping you'll come back.
No, I'm not coming back.
Please?
It wasn't a pleasant experience. I'm just teasing. It was great being here, and I thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
You guys are really, really great. And I absolutely, anytime you want to have me back, I'm here to support you. I don't care how many people come. It's always nice to give a chat and give a talk and share the message. And ultimately, for those that actually go through my program, there are going to be some people that have an inclination to public speaking, training, and coaching. My goal within the next 3 to 6 months is to have a train-the-trainer program. Because it's a duplicatable system, I eventually would like people around the world doing it. So when I pass on to the next life, I've left a legacy that's bigger than myself.
You've got a long way to go, though.
Well, I hope so.
Absolutely.
But I look good for 72.
72?
Youthful spirit.
Well, I've exhausted my questions. Do you have anything you want to share with the audience?
No, I just want to thank you. And just, you know, for anyone out there that is interested in knowing more about what we do, you can go to my website, allannight.com, ALLANKNIGHT.com. Within the next month or so, we're going to have another website called what'sholdingyouback.com, which is going to feature. That's what his book's called. That's what my book is called, and it's called What's Holding You Back. And my goal is to have a radio show that'll be called What's Holding You Back. So it'll be a very practical, solutions-oriented kind of radio program.
So what's holding you back?
You!
It's great having you here, Allan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.